So we've been talking about differing climates, and that is one of the reasons given as to why the England women's team have performed so badly at the Ashes down under where you are, Kate. I mean, I really don't want to talk about it, but you have your time to gloat in just a moment. The reason I mentioned the climate is the England head coach, John Lewis, has basically said that it's the lifestyle is so different from England to what it is in Australia, for example, that people can go out swimming every day and enjoy themselves and be athletic and be so healthy. It's not the same here in England. We clearly can't win at anything because our climate and our lifestyles are so bad. That's one of the reasons he's given anyway. It was over, I think, in the first T20. So, yeah, Kate, tell us how happy everybody is in Australia.
Well, look, jubilant would be a word I'd probably use. Look, I'll just read you some of the headlines that have been published in our press that I've just collected.
Just happens to have them handy.
Just happens to have them. Australia smashes dismal England. England annihilated as Australia dominate women's Ashes.
Wow.
Pretty straight down the line. England... Ashes domination continues as England slumps to humiliating 10-year low. And then finally, the Australian spinner Sophie Molyneux has said the idea of a whitewash is really appealing. And it is appealing. You know what, guys? I love a whitewash. There's been some great moments as well. I don't know if you guys saw that catch by Ash Gardner. She was running out of bounds. It was going to be a 6. She pulled it back in with one hand, jumped over the rope, came back into the ground, and then caught it with the other hand. Incredible stuff. And that sort of athleticism, I guess, goes to what your coach is saying, Nat. We are more athletic down here. We do like being out in the sun, and we do like to gloat just a little bit too. But it was a funny thing to say. He said that the Australians look more faster and more powerful, more agile because he did a walk from Bondi to Coogee, and he saw all the kids out surfing and bodyboarding and doing surf lifesaving, which has caused quite a stir here. I think a lot of our media loved that and took it into various situations. In fact, commentators on our Big Bash League in the men's game were commenting that one of the players who made a particularly nice move it must have been a product of the Bondi lifestyle, the athleticism and agility that just grows up in the eastern suburbs. And as an eastern suburbs resident myself in Sydney, I appreciate it. I don't know, is there any, I think jokes aside, is there anything to be said about a culture that does have access to beaches, open space, a lot of great weather, rarely gets too cold, rarely gets too hot to play sport, and a lifestyle that does, I see it on the weekends in the morning, people do go out running to meet and have coffee. Is that really such an impact? People run in London, don't they? Do they?
Yeah, they do. Of course we do. Listen, just to say that the climate is the reason why, a team might be losing isn't fair, really, from what John Lewis was saying. The weather does play its part, and you can, if it's raining or if it's grey, if it's really cold, there's a reason why you don't want to go out. You might say, I'm just going to Netflix and chill today. I don't need to go out. I think it does help when you can go out and have that wonderful climate and have that wonderful sea all around you. We're in London, we're a built up city. Yeah, we've got the River Thames, but it's a bit murky. No one wants to swim in that.
That didn't go well in Paris for the marathon swimming.
Exactly that. In some ways, look, there's no great shame in losing to Australia because Australia are the best of the best. Of course they are. I think people just expected it to be a little bit tighter. And also, I think they changed the format of it because if I remember rightly, the last time it was the test match that was played first, and Australia won that, which gave them a 4-point advantage, which was quite insurmountable because obviously England didn't win. So they changed it thinking, well, because this is 1 and 2 in the ODI rankings, that maybe it'll be a slightly closer affair. Boy, they got that wrong as well. But yeah, it's a massive learning experience.
But really, let's break it down. What is going on with women's cricket in England? England is the birthplace of cricket. Really, you have far more people, far more women in the country than we do. What's going on with the cricket program? Why is it so bad?
I think we've just been a bit slow on the uptake. It's only in the recent years that they've become professional. And that's similar with the women's football. Let's not forget the WSL's massive over here now, and they're all now getting rewarded by full-time contracts. They no longer have to work a second job, which so many of our football players and no doubt cricketers have had to do. I think it's just been slow behind the 8 ball, really, unfortunately, for cricket over here, despite, as you say, being the birthplace of it. Maybe there's a little bit of thinking, oh, well, as you say, we came up with cricket, so we should be the best at it, but not actually going down the route of properly developing our players, our youngsters, making sure they're as good a standard as they should be. Now we brought in the 100 competition. Now we're seeing a mixture of teams, and maybe that will help with the franchises and bringing in more sponsorships. Things like that will help to improve. But I also think it doesn't help when we've got our coach coming up with strange excuses, the captain at one point saying she doesn't even know why they've lost. They can't even come up with the reasons as to why they've been so below par. And when former England cricketers like Alex Hartley has been critical in the past by saying that their fitness levels perhaps aren't at their best, she didn't single anybody out, but they don't like that criticism. They've been shunning her when she's tried to speak to them in her media work that she does, some of those players anyway. You sometimes just got to front up and say we're just not good enough and we've got to go back to the drawing board.